welcome back to Recovery Demystified. My name's Early. I'm so happy to have y'all here today. If you're interested in addressing your use of substances or alcohol in your life and you're looking for something different, you are in the right place. Happy to have you. I am going to be a little vulnerable with y'all. I'm looking for a little bit of help with some stuff. I'm really excited about this project that I'm doing. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback. Over the years, I've seen a deep, deep need in our society for something different, and that's specifically this non-religious, science-based recovery resources. And I'm super excited to bring that to our community, especially to historically marginalized groups, people that are like overworked and underserved. I feel like super stoked to be able to start to do this for people. I've gotten really good feedback, lots of encouragement, and that is like awesome, and it totally helps keep me going. But you know, I'm one person doing a lot of stuff, and I still just like work full time at a restaurant waiting tables, which is fine. I kind of feel like low-key that I hacked the system. Like I can make really good money and have very low input and still be able to survive on working just a few hours a day, which is something that is honestly like really helpful for me as a disabled person. I've never really been able to be like fully employed in a normal way. But I really, really, really would love to be able to do this recovery work and have it pay. And I've, always been a poor person. I don't know where money comes from. I've been trying to apply for grants, and I just keep getting rejected over and over, and they don't really tell you why you're getting rejected. But I'm beginning to see that perhaps this is not a great skill of mine. Also, it's like, we did a fundraiser. It was super fun, and it was like a show and a raffle, and we had pizza. And I just kind of know how to do like punk rock money raising, which is like, oh my God, we got $900. That's crazy. But I know, like, especially where we live in Northwest Arkansas, between like all of the large reliable industries that we have here. I mean, we've got like Walmart and Tyson and JB Hunt, and we have this whole huge college that like there is a lot of abundance and resources in this area, and I have no clue how to tap into it. So if there is somebody out there who can write grants, who knows how to fundraise in a big way, who knows how to talk to folks that have abundance that would be interested in supporting this project, I just feel like I could do really, really, really good work if I was able to be paid to do this. And like I said, I'm used to being poor. I don't need much, but I just need more than what's going on now to just be able to support folks in the recovery work that I've been doing. So yeah, if anyone is out there that has those skills, holler at me in the email info@recoverydemystified.com, and let's connect. And I would be like so infinitely grateful if someone was able to help me out in that way. Yeah. So anyway, today I have another interview episode for y'all. It was my very favorite thing, which is a stranger from the internet. If you're a stranger from the internet and you're listening to this, send me an email. Like, it is the most fun thing for me to know that there's people that are out there that are listening to this that are getting something from it, that like want to get involved. So if you've been thinking about reaching out, like, holler at me. I'm always looking for more people to interview on the podcast. Whatever story you have is valid, and it's going to help people because they're going to find it relatable. Definitely looking for stories that are off the beaten path, queer people, other, disabled people, historically marginalized folks. I want to uplift the stories of those kind of people that have been traditionally silenced. So if that is you, I mean, if you're anyone and you want to tell your story, just holler at me. I'm super stoked to hear from people. But like I said, Hope, who I have in today's episode, is a stranger from the internet who emailed me, and we met up, and it's just this amazing thing that happens in that podcast booth at the public library where like it's a tiny little dark cave and you just crawl in there, and it's just something special about the energy of it. It's like people just get really vulnerable and tell their stories, and I'm so appreciative of the entire experience. It's really neat, and it was cool meeting up with Hope and just being like instantly clicking. And I mean, there's a lot that doesn't need to be said between like queer people who have had addictions and mental health diagnosis and shit. Like, it's just a blanket understanding that kind of comes with it. When you see someone, you're like, oh, this person is like me. But yeah, Hope's story is really interesting, and I'm super grateful that they decided to come on the podcast. It's really brave and share their story with us. There is some topics of like sexual assault and self-harm involved in this podcast. So if you are not ready to hear someone talk about that, then please take good care. And without further ado, here is my interview with Hope. Hello, Hope. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. I'm a little bit shaken off an adrenaline rush. I don't usually drive, but I drove my ass all the way. Oh, we can cuss, right?
Oh, yeah.
I drove my ass all the way here. Damn it. It was quite a commute. Just not really. It was from, like 30 minutes. But.
Yeah. Roger's kind of Timbuktu from
my
here.
God, it feels like it. It feels like it. But I spend a lot of time in Fayetteville, so I consider myself like a Fayetteville semi-local.
Word. Well, thanks for making the trek on down here. Will you start by introducing yourself to the audience and let them know your pronouns and a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a gender fluid degenerate. I'm really, I go by any pronouns, but like they all really resonate with me, but they, them is comfiest. I really love they, them. Word. So that's a safe bet. Less of a degenerate than I used to be. I feel like I'm losing my edge a little bit. I go to bed early and I drink chamomile tea now. So
that's all right. One of our previous guests said that it is edgy to take care of yourself.
It is so punk rock.
Yes.
Self-care is so punk rock. That's so true.
Yes, you can be edgy on the other side of the sword.
The rest is resilience.
Yeah. Well, let's get started with what we came here to do. We're here to talk about your story with addiction and recovery. So I'm curious what it was like for you to be a little kid. Maybe some of your first exposures to drugs or alcohol, then when it got bad, and how you decided to get into recovery. So just start wherever you'd like.
Cool. Light topics. Elevator talk.
Elevator talk.
Yeah, I often say that I was a very loved and lucky orphan. I was raised by my maternal grandparents, who were fantastic. Good old Nana and Papa. Just born and raised in NWA. And
what happened to your birth parents that you were raised by your grandparents?
I lost them to substance abuse. They didn't die. They were just dead to me. I really resented my mom more so. My dad, I never really knew. I'm kind of a bastard pup, so didn't really know my dad, but for good reason. He actually, when he was young, my mom was a teen mom, so he was pretty young when he overdosed, and his friends, like for shits and giggles, shot him up again.
What?
While he was overdosing. But luckily he was in a hot attic in the middle of the summer, so he also got a heat stroke on top of it.
Oh my goodness.
And now he has like drug-induced dementia. I have vague memories of like supervised visits with him, and he, in my memory, is the Geico caveman in appearance.
Oh my goodness.
So, but I have one picture of him, and it's his prom picture, and he looks just like Frankie Muniz. So who knows what I guess looks half like me, but
so I guess that answers the question of if there was addiction in your family. It sounds like absolutely yes.
Definitely. Yeah. Before that, for generations long, yeah. Yeah, but I gave my dad a lot of grace just because, what an unfortunate circumstance. I mean, I probably should have given my mother as much grace because addiction is an illness, but when you're young, you don't really understand that. You feel like you're being picked last on purpose rather than just being a side effect of a much bigger issue.
Yeah, it's really hard when you're a little kid not having your parents prioritize you. That makes sense to me.
Right. And I struggle a lot with, like, because I'm very grateful for my grandparents. Nana and Papa really, like, did their very best, and they raised my sisters. I had two sisters. Lost one not too long ago, but they raised us the best they could. We had a good childhood, and I grew up, because of my resentment from, substance abuse in general. I made, like, a blood oath with myself and my little sisters that I would never ever use, bro. Like, I would stay far, far away from that I'd be the first to go to college in my fam, and, like, I would break the chain, especially as, like, the eldest quote unquote daughter. There's that pressure, but also, like, man, that want to, that drive to prove people wrong and break the chain and stuff. And so, needless to say, when that didn't happen,
yeah, I'm sure there's some.
It was pretty heartbreaking. I mean, you beat yourself up a lot. But my story with drugs and alcohol is not the usual one, I guess. But I guess everyone says that. It's always a unique story.
Yeah, no one's life is exactly like another person's. I'm curious. I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
What age were you when you and your siblings moved in with your grandparents?
I was 2, and then my sisters are consecutively 2 years younger than me. I think numbers and math are hard.
Yeah.
I recently learned their birthdays.
Yeah. So really no memories of living with your parents at all?
No.
Yeah.
For a while, my sisters, they lived with my mom and my stepdad, and I had visitation there. And I have vague memories of taking care of my sisters while my stepdad and my mom are, like, passed out on the couch, like, drunk, I think. But I was really young. I was, like, 2 at that time, and then taking care of, like, infants and stuff. So that was short-lived.
And then my other question is, when you're living with your grandparents, you said the addiction in your family is, like, generational. Were your grandparents, like, drinking or using drugs or anything like that, or were they pretty straight-laced?
They weren't drinkers, but man, they're good old-fashioned stoners. And I kind of resented that as well growing up. Not that it impacted their parenting ability whatsoever. In fact, it probably made it. I mean, their grandparents are suffering from arthritis, and they were, like, self-medicating. I now understand, but, like, all drugs are drugs when you're a kid. You don't understand, like, the difference between weed or opiates,
Right.
And so, but they were stoners, and that was my intro to substances. Like, I would see them, puffing in the living room. They'd do their best to send us, like, in the other room and stuff, but they wouldn't, like, go outside, kind of thing. I feel like I'm ratting them out, but they'll be listening to this. But
I mean, as long as we're all just telling the truth.
We're really chill. I mean, it's all. I'm in therapy. I encourage all my family to go to therapy. We're all really open, and I give them a little bit of shit for, like, tearing down my Kurt Cobain poster growing up, but everyone makes mistakes. Mistakes.
So I guess your first encounters with substances was probably seeing your grandparents smoke weed. When did you first test the waters for yourself?
That's why I say it was an unusual circumstance, because I grew up thinking that my life would be a John Hughes movie where I'm, like, peer pressured into, like, drinking and smoking at a party, but really it was out of desperation. I was 13, 14, and I was having horrible period cramps, and I knew that pot had medicinal properties for pain, so I hid in my closet. I made a little aluminum foil pipe
Typical 13-year-old behavior.
Yes. I magic marker, rolled it around it, made a little right angle, you know.
Oh my gosh, I literally remember, sorry
There's
to interrupt,
a science to it, you know what I mean?
I literally remember my dear sweet mother going into my younger sister. I have twin younger sisters, and, you know, everyone in my family's had their touch and go moments, sometimes better, sometimes worse. But I remember in high school, my mom going into their room and being like, why do you guys always have the aluminum foil in your room? And literally just not knowing. Not knowing at all.
Sweet.
My dear sweet mother. But anyway, so you have horrible period cramps, you know that the weed might do something, and you make a foil pipe in your closet.
And I just cry and smoke that weed, and it worked. And I was like, what else does it cure? You know, like, definitely worked for that. I'm you know, obviously going through puberty, like, angsty as hell, having mommy and daddy issues, like, hating high school, a former gifted and talented kid with, like, wasted potential. It felt like, you know, like a Green Day song. So, like, what else does it cure? And then from there, my resolve to my little innocent, I'm never gonna smoke, I'm never gonna do drugs, I'm never gonna drink, little baby me had given up and was like, well, if I'm already smoking pot, like, I might as well have a beer. And at that point, my sweet arthritic grandfather at this point was, you know, indulging in a couple beers. He got a cute little mini fridge and had Bush stocked up, so I'd rearrange the beers after sneaking one and started there. And then
do you remember how the first time drinking made you feel?
Man, I'll never forget. Yeah, I was cross-faded, as the kids call it. So I was or what else? I've heard twisted. I don't like that one. It sounds way more intense and like hardcore experience.
As in, we're defining this. This is you smoking pot and drinking at the same time.
Yes, exactly. It was euphoric. Like, all of my stress melted away. What I particularly remember was feeling comfortable in my body, which was a new phenomena for me, which since childhood I'd never felt comfortable, or at least like in ownership of my body. And I felt very like just they say it like takes you out of the present moment, but I was like, really, it was meditative
yeah,
at that moment. Like it was like almost spiritual. I think it changed my life, because from there I didn't turn back. I started to drink, and whenever I could, sneak a beer whenever I could.
And what age were you when you had your first drink?
14, 15, shortly after my first smoke sesh. So.
And then how did things progress from there?
Schnapps. Schnapps, man.
That is such like a thing to drink when you're a teenager. I absolutely remember doing that too. It's like peppermint schnapps, something that's just like...
Stop. Were you there? Because I don't remember that night, but it was peppermint.
Literally, it's just like, it's because it's just flavorful enough that you can choke it down or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that shit a teenager will drink out of the parents' liquor cabinet.
Yeah. It was a friend's liquor cabinet, but they were the cool parents where you could drink as long as you were supervised and stuff. So we definitely like took advantage of that. And then from there it was stealing my boyfriend's mom's tequila out of their liquor cabinet and then watering it down, you know, like keeping a line by the label, making sure we're all the tricks.
Yes. But covering your tracks early on with the rearrangement of the beer and the watering down of the
I don't know. It's the Hightower blood in me. Is instinctual.
So is most of the the smoking and drinking, it sounds like it started with you by yourself, sort of just like self-medicating, just different physical and psychological pain. Was it mostly by yourself in the future, or did it become like a social thing, or how did it change throughout high school?
It was a mixed bag. I definitely had my friends who, when you're a teen, it's hard to get your hands on like cigarettes and booze and weed without like pooling resources and numbers and like contacts and stuff. So I definitely had like a group of friends who I partied with, but I also definitely just, it was whenever I could. So if I was alone, then I was alone. If I was with friends, then I was with friends, kind of thing. But and it progressed to skipping a lot of school in order to make more time for getting fucked up. So
how quickly what did it happen between your first drink and skipping school?
Oh man, I like, it snowballed. My junior year, it snowballed to the point where my junior year, I was truant 72 days in one semester. So they gave me the choice of like an ankle monitor and like kiddie probation or getting my GED, which I always think is a silly like option to give a child.
Who doesn't want to be at school anyway?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, of course I'm gonna get my GED. You mean I'm allowed to do that? Like, let me out of here. And sometimes, like, I wouldn't even leave campus. Like, it was really sad. I'd just like hang out in the bathroom, and that's how much I'd rather not be in class or around people. Like, I'd eat lunch in the library. There was a lot of isolation in high school, now that you mention it.
Was that about, is that like a personal choice, or was it like you kind of have social awkwardness type of stuff? Like, where did the isolation come from? Like inside or outside, or both? Neither?
I was well liked. Like, I was definitely well known. I mean, like, the popular kids didn't give me any shit. The nerds didn't give me any shit. Nobody messed with me kind of way. But like, everything was amicable, and I didn't really reside in a particular clique like how high school works. So I guess it was kind of a self-chosen isolation. I mean, it was me and my other lone wolves, and we'd connect when we all felt like it, kind of thing. And when we felt like it was usually to get fucked up together. But yeah.
Did that initial euphoric like aha moment with the weed and with the beer, did that stick around for any amount of time? Like throughout high school, were you still like, oh, this is working for me? Or did it shift and change like your experience of how the substances felt?
Oh man, it worked for me for a long time. And it worked for me because I made it work for me. Like, there were definitely like early on signs that I'm self-sabotaging and I should maybe like stop. But I kind of loved that part about it too, kind of especially because I had a history of like trigger warning, self-harm, and like cutting, and something about trigger warning, getting assaulted while you're drunk, like not that it's ever a victim's fault, but like putting yourself in that position on purpose as a form of like self-harm is like kind of where there were just spots, little sad glimmers of maybe this is gonna get bad, and I didn't know when, but I also didn't care.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And it also sounds like a lot of it is just trying to regain some semblance of control in a life where like...
Absolutely.
Yeah, in a life where like it started with not having any parental bonds and not having any control over like your emotional wellness, and just trying to get that in whatever way that you can, even if it is like maladaptive. It still makes a lot of sense to me.
It hurts, but it's my choice.
Yeah.
So like I definitely would choose that over and over given the option.
So the substances were working, but perhaps in like a maladaptive way where you were seeing like little red flags in the distance kind of thing. Did you end up getting your GED? Like, how did that pan out?
I did. I scored really, really high.
Yes.
Not to brag.
You were saying you're the gifted kid with wasted talent, so that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, it was. I don't think they made the test very hard on purpose, but I scored pretty high, and my family was really proud of me. I walked with my other degenerates who got their GED, and I got the family pictures and stuff. So my family's always been proud of me, and maybe if it's deserved or not, time will tell. But they've always been so supportive, and I don't know. I think a lot of my drinking, a lot of it was to cover up guilt for not being grateful for all of that support and love that I was given.
What do you mean by that?
Well, because I was so resentful early. Like, I was such an angsty, resentful little shit. And, like, I guess I just didn't know how good I had it. And
are you talking about resentment towards your grandparents or to your, like,
the world?
The whole world.
The whole world. But also, like, my grandparents, my immediate family, and most of all myself for, like, breaking those promises I made as a child. And it was kind of a catch-22 kind of thing. Like, oh, shit, I'm a drinker now. Like, I think that my favorite book, The Little Prince, has a section where he comes across a drunk, like an alcoholic, and he's like, why are you drinking? And he's like, because I can't stop drinking, or I'm butchering it, but it's a beautiful, like, catch-22, like, I'm a drunk because I'm a drunk because I'm a drunk because I'm a drunk, kind of, like, cyclical kind of thing. And yeah, so I just continued that way for a long, long time.
What age were you when you got your GED?
15, 16.
I'm like, were you?
Yeah, 15, I think.
I'm like, were you also like emancipated at that time? Or are you still like legally, whatever, a child? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. Yeah. I had the opportunity to get emancipated because I looked into it, and I never did that. I never took that route. But I was definitely like behaving as an adult and doing adult things, obviously, but not legally, nope.
So what happened after you got your GED? Where did things go from there?
I sold my labor. I started selling my labor. I got a job at I had a couple little, like, under the table jobs, but I got my first, like, official job at a sandwich shop, little bakery / cafe sandwich shop place. And yeah, I met my current partner there, actually, and it was probably one of my most long-lived jobs. I managed it for a while. We had me and the other managers and I scored high on my GED. The other managers and I would have tequila Tuesdays, and that's where we'd drink tequila in the office and get. So, like, I was a functional alcoholic, I think, is what I'm trying to say still at this point. Like, working, but still definitely there's booze in my system at any given point.
Weird. Was there any other, like, drugs that entered the picture? Was it mostly just...
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Anything I could get my hands on within reason. A lot of, like, inhalants. I thought I killed my best friend huffing air duster once, and there was what were they called? Triple C's were all the rage. That's Mucinex, if you don't know.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's not quite a Benadryl trip where you see Hat Man, but it is a trip where you see Pokemon walking around your room.
Dang.
So just abusing over-the-counter stuff and things like that. A lot of pot, a lot of Adderall for sure.
What happened? Tell me about what happened with you and your friend and the air duster.
Well, we just fucked around and found out early. You're not supposed to inhale that stuff. Did you know that?
I do know that.
And you're especially not, you're supposed to, if you're gonna do it, put it on a rag and like chloroform yourself style. But she just huffed it straight from the can, and her eyes rolled back and drool came out, and she was crisscross applesauce, and then she was flat cross applesauce.
Damn.
like
she passed
on her face, passed out. Yeah. And I was like, that show was shaking her, and it felt like an eternity. And I was like, oh my God, I have to tell Nana that my best friend's dead because we were huffing her keyboard cleaner. But she popped up and came to, and everything was fine.
Damn. How long was she out for?
It felt like an eternity, but probably only like 2 minutes.
I mean, that's enough time to
do some damage.
Shit your pants a few times.
For real.
Yeah.
For real.
And how did you find out about huffing stuff?
I don't know. I guess it started with poppers, so I want to blame a certain twink in my life.
Not the gays.
The gays introduced me to inhalants. They want your kids to inhale.
It's the gay agenda.
It is. Do you feel the rush?
So starting with poppers, and then,
air duster.
And then
Mucinex, yeah, and then over-the-counter stuff, and then like prescription stuff that you could just get off your ADHD friends at school.
Dang, so you're working at the sandwich shop, just kind of doing whatever drugs you can get your hand on, drinking tequila on Tuesdays, but maybe drinking something every day. But managing to keep a job. What happened after that?
It's all kind of a blur early. I was never able to keep a job long after this sandwich shop job. I kind of hopped around. And that was mostly because I was late for this podcast by like half an hour, and I'm not. It's a pattern. Like, I'm not hiding my punctuality record here. I've been fired for tardiness from like every job that I've ever had, and a lot of it because you're hungover in the morning, dude. You don't want to go to work, and when you've spent so long drinking and partying, it wasn't exactly a priority to get your permit or your license or a car. So you're relying on the generosity of your family to take you to work. Even waking you up, bless their hearts, like waking you up for work and you like cussing them out, like Frank Gallagher throwing a beer bottle at them, like get out, like. So bounced around jobs, and I'm still kind of doing that. I'm in between payrolls now.
At any point during that initial phase of not being able to keep a job and getting fucked up all the time, did you have a thought of like, maybe it's the substances, or were you still like, these things are keeping me alive?
They're keeping me alive, and they're like, when I am at work, they're like, what's keeping me there? Like helping me cope with the job itself, if that makes sense. Like once I got over the hangover and like got myself there, I would, have my mini bottle of like, what was I drinking? Something disgusting, I'm sure, like Burnett's, mini bottle of Burnett's in my purse. And
lovely.
getting through my theater job, I definitely went through like so many of those little bottles.
Was it a lot of work to like cover your tracks?
I thought I was way smoother than I was. So like, no. I didn't cover my tracks very well. I mean, I never got fired for my performance. I'm a hard worker. And when I'm there, I'm a hard worker, but I definitely like needed something to take the edge off to accomplish my tasks, it felt like at that time. And so but I've spoken to ex-coworkers and they totally like, they're like, you were a mess. I was like, I thought I had it all. What do you mean I was a mess? I had it all together, dude.
Did anyone ever bring it up to you at the time?
No, not really. People are really nice to me, thankfully. I think it's because, like, I have the face that, like, I'll cry if you're mean to me.
And also, I feel like, I don't know, in our society, we're bred to be, like, allergic to conflict or something like that.
That, too, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
When oftentimes just a tiny bit of conflict, like, in the right, growth environment setting could, like, help everyone feel better.
Communication, at the very least.
At the very least.
But, no, they just kind of picked up my slack, and I was the comedic relief to make up for it, I think. That's all I did.
So how did things progress from there? What happened next?
Bouncing around jobs, being a drunk. I did that for a while, and then I got into sex work. I've been a sex worker for the past 4 or 5 years now, and that's interesting because you're your own boss, so you can't fire. I've yet to fire myself, but I should have long ago because it's tough being your own boss. I mean, I love not being told what to do, but again, man, there's no one to tell me what to do. Like, what am I supposed to do today, kind of thing. So
yeah, when it's like, do I want to go to work?
Exactly. No, I don't.
Probably not. I'd rather do something else.
I never do. So it's tough to be consistent with that. And
was the desire to start as a sex worker, was that bred from like something that you just like wanted to do, or did it come from like, oh well, I can't keep a normal job, so this is like my only option, or like what kind of pushed you in the direction of starting in that type of work?
Yeah, it was like an amalgamation of like desperation and also convenience, and also like a need for empowerment. I have been like assaulted sexually so many times in my life, like starting from an early age, and my therapist hates that I'm a sex worker, but I don't think that she understands that when you're a sex worker, when things go right, so to speak, when the business is like consensual and going as designed, it's very empowering in the sense that like I make the rules, like I determine what my job is for the day. Like I have total control to say no, I'm not taking that job, or like yes, I am taking that job, and actually you're paying me this much instead of this much, and what used to be like stolen from me often is now sustaining me. So it gives me a sense of power, and yeah, my therapist hates it, but I love it.
I mean, maybe your therapist has some different information I don't, but from the brief little bit you've just said here, it sounds like you're taking something that used to not be in your control, that used to hurt you, and you're making it into, it sounds like healing. It sounds like you're making it to something where you are the one with the power, and to me that makes perfect sense.
She's tentatively supportive. She just worries that it'll trigger me.
Yeah.
But and I think like it's kind of a generational thing too. Like she's from a generation that didn't have OnlyFans. There was just like you make very little money being like a Playboy bunny, and you're being exploited by a creep the whole time. So like sex work has evolved, and I think there's that aspect to it too a little bit. But
yeah, and you're the only person who can decide what's right for you.
Absolutely. And she'll say the same thing.
Yeah.
She'll say the same thing.
So as you're switching over in your life to sex work, and you're working for yourself, how does your substance use change at that time?
It increases. It increases because I have a stable source of money, and therefore a stable source of liquor flowing in, and etc. I, at that point, surrounded myself. When I first got into sex work, I was still in connection with a lot of toxic people who definitely took advantage of me and introduced me to like what I call my Xanax era, which was a dark time. It was the best of times, and it was the worst of times.
That was my sigh of yes.
I don't remember either of them.
Yeah,
but
that's the desired effect of the Xanax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but at a certain point, I also sex work kind of inspired me to like get my adult life more in track. Like I got health insurance, not through OnlyFans. God, can you imagine? And I got diagnosed with, wasn't diagnosed yet, but I got prescribed antidepressants. My diagnoses at that point were only depression, anxiety, and like PTSD.
Yeah.
And so I got those medication for those, and fun fact, Lexapro plus booze just makes the booze so much stronger. And
yeah, SSRIs and alcohol or other drugs together is
not supposed to do that, dude.
No.
It's really bad for you.
Yeah, we're not supposed to have air duster.
Did you know that early?
We're not supposed to. Yeah, but the thing is, and I've said this before, it's like, bless the doctor's heart or whatever, but if they're giving you pills for your mental health problems and you're actively medicating yourself with substances for your mental health problems, we gotta look at that first.
And you'd think, like, if there wasn't such a stigma around substance abuse, you would feel more comfortable with your healthcare provider, like, disclosing, like, hey, I'm a heavy drinker. Mm-hmm. So, yes. I definitely agree with you there. Like, but at the time, I would argue heavily and say that I found a cheat code to spend less money on White Claws. So did the medications help at all, or just for sure? Yeah. I'm on what I call it, like, my special cocktail now. I'm now treated for my ADHD and my bipolar, which I always, there's a comorbidity between bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder. And again, my therapist is great, and she is very, like, she listens to me. I swear to God she does. But she doesn't think that I have BPD. And my whole life, I was so sure, like, I have like 9 out of 10 of the symptoms in the DSM, and you'd think that like would qualify me, but apparently I have like it's like just a checklist list of I am 100% bipolar, but I think there's a sprinkle of a personality disorder in there too.
Yeah. Also, bless the darn providers' hearts.
Yeah.
But they just be looking at your chart and they're like, well, someone else said you were this, so that's what I think you are. And yeah, I've had, very similar experiences with being like, no, I swear I'm fucking autistic. I swear to God. And then the therapist being like, but you don't seem autistic. And I'm like, I'm masking, bitch.
But you're making eye contact, right now.
Yeah, and then, later getting my rubber stamped autism shit and then also getting undiagnosed bipolar. There's just so much going on when it's like the chaos of addiction, the chaos of trauma, and then also just like the DSM literally pathologizing everything besides being a psychiatrist. So it's like, yeah, we like sometimes the labels obviously like help us if we need like the right kind of medication, a certain kind of therapy. It helps us understand ourselves better. But then sometimes it's just like, you can't squeeze all of our fucking trauma and mental health issues like into rigid boxes that every single other person we encounter is like gonna understand either.
Yeah, man. My good old papa refers to my long list of like abbreviated diagnoses as alphabet soup. And yeah, some people are just like a chili instead of an alphabet soup. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you don't need all the letters. Sometimes it's just like a mix of like other thing. Maybe cut that analogy.
We'll see. We'll see how it sounds. It's working in my brain. It makes sense to me.
I hope it makes sense. I hope it does.
Oh, we all have soup for brains, don't we?
That's what I'm getting at. That's the core of what I'm saying is I have soup for brains.
So, what happened in between starting to get these diagnoses and getting medications and whatever, and then the point where you're like, maybe the substances aren't working anymore? Like, what happened in that chunk of time?
Oh, I lost my little sister.
Shit, I'm sorry. What happened?
Man, she hydroplaned on coming home from Fayetteville on like 71B during a storm, and she like went through a windshield and did not make it.
Fuck, I'm sorry. That's so hard.
Yeah, man, wear your seatbelt. We think she did. We're unsure if it malfunctioned. It's all. We have a lot of questions surrounding her death, but that was the moment where I was drinking myself to death to follow her. And I realized that I was drinking myself to death and I was going to follow her to the grave unless I stopped. And
so it was your like response to the grief was just to drink.
Yes, like a fish, like so much. I was drunk for the funeral. My youngest sister took care of all the arrangements. And
how old were you?
This was 3.5 years ago, so I was 20. How old am I now, Early?
I don't know.
I was 24, 23, 24.
20, something like that. And how old was your sister?
She was 21.
Damn.
She was 21.
So, your sister dies, and then it really, really, really spirals down really quickly.
It got bad, yeah.
How bad was it?
How
bad was it?
How bad was it? It was pretty damn bad. I raged out at my family. I was assaulted yet again. I don't ever want to I don't blame myself for my assault, but I do blame myself for making my goal in life to get blackout drunk every day. So I was raging at my family. I got assaulted. I was just sick. I was poisoning myself. Like, I physically felt ill. I was bedridden. I was bed rotting. I was when you're a drunk, you feel everything so much more extremely. And I was feeling like every stage of grief at once. It felt like it was all coming at me, and I had no way to process anything. It was just an avalanche of feelings and anger and sadness and grief and bargaining and all the good ones. So
did the alcohol, do you think it helped you survive that grief? Do you think it made it worse? Do you think it's a combination? How do you think alcohol affected the grief process?
It made it so bad. I made it so bad, and that was such a shock to me, because it was my solution, like in a bottle for a decade, and it became like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like a rage potion instead of like a remedy at all.
Hey. Damn. Now, I've seen a picture of you in handcuffs.
Oh my God.
What, did that happen during this time?
You would think that would have been my like, hey, let's actually get sober, but I just hate the police and would have done what I did sober.
That was before this time?
That was before this time. That was when I was 22, maybe 21, 22. I was at a Killers concert at the Amp, and if you're familiar with the Amp, there's a barricade, a little wall to get into the pit that is very easy to jump. If you pay lawn tickets, you can just jump the barricade and be in pit, easy peasy. Mm-hmm. Unless there's some snooty wasps not helping you over with their coach bags. Like, they were hitting me with their coach bags, and this pumped up Mr. Clean looking security guard escorted me out. I was drunk. Needless to say, like, very messy drunk and pissed because these bitches, when you're supposed to help out a fellow crowd member, like, get in the pit, but they weren't helpful. And then Mr. Clean was manhandling me. And then I wasn't in trouble, dude. I called Nana, and I wasn't even like banned from ever coming back to the Amp. They were just like, you have to go home. You're not only cut off, like, you have to leave. And a cop was waiting with me and just teasing me. He's like, oh, did someone have a little too much to drink?
Oh, God.
Oh, does someone have to have their Nana come pick them up?
Not helpful.
And so I was like, does someone have a little pee-pee? Does someone have a little wiener? And that's illegal, I guess.
So it's not illegal for the cop to harass the shit out of you and be a fucking prick, but it's illegal for you to do it back.
No. This guy looks like a Great Value Woody Harrelson, and I think I mentioned that too. One of them was the last straw, and it took 3 cops to get me in handcuffs and in the back of that car.
Did they take you to jail?
They took me to the drunk tank.
For telling a cop he had a tiny pecker.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. What a great use of state taxpayer money.
I think so.
Really
I think so. I got charged with public intox and disorderly conduct.
Was that the only contact that you'd had with police, the only legal repercussions of the drinking?
The only time I was maybe a little buzzed, but I was present for the 2020 war crime that took place in the Bentonville Square there was a peaceful protest that turned into like an assault by Bentonville Police Department with expired tear gas. And
that was during Black Lives Matter, right?
It was, yeah. So I've experienced with them in like riot gear, but that was the most intimate I had been with them.
Goodness. Well, thanks for rewinding the tape for a second there, but
no, I love that story.
I was like, I saw a picture of you in handcuffs, so I kind of gotta know.
I was very drunk, and you would think that would have been like the, hey, maybe I should sober up moment, but I was actually pretty proud of that moment.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
I do it again.
So we were before at the point where you were just the booze had turned on you. It was no longer a helpful tool, and now it was destroying you in the aftermath of all the grief and everything like that. So was that sort of becoming the point where you were like, I'm done, I'm good on this?
Yeah. I had like a month and a half after my sister died, and on April 3rd, I kind of just like decided that was the day that I wasn't going to drink, that at least that day. And I downloaded this like little tracker app that like counts the days, and also has like a fun little community tab where you can blog about your progress and stuff. And I started utilizing that, and I'm really competitive, so like I kind of made it a contest with myself, like how many days can I go?
Did you have a goal in the beginning?
No, not really. Just as long as I just one day at a time, you know what they say, like just really I wanted the high score. I wanted to find out what that high score could be.
How was the detox phase, and how did you survive that first like couple of weeks?
Thankfully, I have the most wonderful partner who was my drinking buddy, but was never an alcoholic. I mean, kept up with me, so to speak, but didn't do it for any of the reasons that I did. And they got sober with me, and they detoxed with me. So the detox was okay, I suppose, if you love to suffer.
You're like sweaty and having nightmares and stuff?
Yeah, I was sweaty. I was having nightmares. I was seeing my like hallucinations of my, rest in peace, my like dead pit bull at the corner of my eye, and like hearing my sister's voice saying hello, and like.
Did you do it by yourself, like unmedicated?
I was medicated, and I'm still to this day like what they call Cali sober. So I like
smoking weed to get through it.
Smoked weed to get through it, man. And
yeah, because like public service announcement, if you're drinking that fucking hard, if you just stop by yourself in your house, you could die.
You could die,
so
dude.
Get your butt on, if you want, get your butt on down to the doctor and get some medical supervision. They'll give you pills so you won't have a seizure and die and shit.
Oh, I wasn't that kind of medicated. I was just taking, I guess I did cold turkey it in that prospect, but I was taking like my psychiatric meds and stuff still.
Yeah.
But I not sponsored bubbly seltzer water, and that's something that I feel like every alcoholic can like really relate to. I've like I said, I've listened to like every episode, and everyone's like, seltzer water.
At all of our support groups, there's cases of seltzer water.
Thank God, yeah. There's a meeting tonight that I think
I'm 6 o'clock.
I'll bring some seltzer water.
So you survive the detox phase. Your partner quits with you. You're just sweating, hallucinating, nightmares, all the fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you make it that first time you quit?
I'm still making it.
Whoop whoop.
I'm still making it.
One and done.
Well, there was a few stints early before my sister died where I was like, I'm gonna cut back. Mm-hmm. And so I cut back a little bit, but I never made it more than a week before that. And then, but once my sister died, April 3rd happened, and I didn't look back. Well, I have looked back every day, but I am marching forward.
Not look back fondly.
Yes, no.
So, other than the bubbly and the support of your partner, what got you through the beginning phases of it?
Spite. A lot of spite. A lot of like just definitely not any traditional, like, besides the support of my partner, I didn't have like a support group. I didn't go to AA. I'm actually like very adamant. I'd hate AA and kind of like everything that it stands for. I don't think that it works for people, and I think it's kind of a toxic program, but if it works for you, then it works for you for sure, absolutely. But I have a lot of religious trauma, and that's like step one, ain't it? Like, so, and I can't get past step one, dude. I was molested in the church, so like, how can I trust a higher power when a higher power like has let me be hurt so much? Like, I just can't. I never been able to. So
it's important to know what resonates with you.
Yeah.
And follow your inner intuition and find the things that you need.
Yeah, and I definitely knew. I had seen it not work for so much of my family, who even are religious, and they just felt so defeated afterwards because, like, I don't know, just I wasn't ready to be told that I'm a failure if I don't do it their way, like. And then maybe it's a little bit of like my oppositional defiance disorder, like coming through. Like, don't tell me what to do. Like, I'll get clean my way. But
so, did you encounter any like cravings or desire to drink in those early days, or did it just disappear?
No, it was constant cravings. That's where the seltzer water came in, because my drink of choice was like a 24-pack of White Claws a night, and they had the same flavor of carbonated beverage as my fruity little vodka drinks. So I curbed my cravings with those and pot and I always sarcastically just say prayer, but like there was no prayer to be had, just a wish, willpower, I guess, just willpower. But there was so much cravings that I still to this day have so many relapse dreams where I had just given and like nobody has to know kind of thing. Like, I just have like a little sip.
Yeah, I have relapse dreams still once in a blue moon where I'm like drinking and fucking everything up, and then I wake up like, oh my god.
Yeah, and did it happen? Because it's so reminiscent of waking up hungover where like it did happen and you'd still like have like a foggy memory of it. Mm-hmm. So like,
scary. I mean, it's your brain, like, it's a fucking nightmare.
It's,
you know what I mean?
Nightmare.
Oh my gosh. So as time has gone on, it sounds like you did more therapy, learned more about your mental health, got some more diagnosis. Do you want to talk a little bit about the process of how all of that has been over the past few years?
It's been great. I've had the same therapist for about 3 years, and we've worked through so much. I used to see her twice a week, and now I see her twice a month. Which isn't really an indication. I mean, see your therapist however much you need to. It just got to the point where all we were talking about was like woo-woo shit, like doing our tarot cards together and stuff. So like not actually talking about any trauma or any struggles that I was currently having, because I've been doing so well lately, early. Like, not to brag, but this 2025 knuckle crack has been like,
brag, please.
It's been my year, and it's scary actually, because I'm waiting for the ball to drop. Like, I'm waiting for the bad thing to happen, and it hasn't yet. And so I'm just like riding that wave. But like,
I mean, the thing about it is, like, once you get so solid in your recovery and you're literally just looking at tarot cards with your therapist because everything's chill, the ball can drop and, like, life happens. And when it does, you're going to, like, have the resilience and the skills and the wherewithal, like, already built up inside of you that you can, like, confront difficult situations without fucking freaking out. So
Yeah, my therapist even was like, the ball can drop, but it could just be like a ping pong ball. Like, it doesn't have to be a beach ball or a bowling ball or like something heavy and bad. Like, it could just be like a minor inconvenience that you now are equipped to resolve.
So what did you learn over the years in therapy that's benefited your recovery?
Damn. Well, we did a lot of tarot. but a lot about forgiveness for myself, grace for myself and others, a lot about like I like dabbled with EMDR. I also, not unsupervised, like not with my therapist, but like just on my own, went through like workbooks for DBT for my, I'm sure that I have BPD. I'm sure that I've cured it also. Did I tell you that?
No. What's up with that?
I'm cured. I don't have it anymore.
Hell yeah.
I just don't. I feel like I really have learned that DBT is like magical, and I recommend it for like everyone, even if you don't have borderline personality disorder. I think it's very effective for like conflict resolution and like grounding and being present in your body, and like just it's a beautiful, beautiful practice. And there, it's a very effective therapy.
Healthy emotional processing type of stuff.
Yes, like dialectically rather than cognitively, because cognitive behavioral therapy is what I do technically, but like, and that's great too. But like, I won't pretend to know what diabetical means, but it's different and it hits different early. Like it really gets I think it just gets to the core more rather than like in the moment.
Were you able to, one, I guess, like in therapy, get through that initial like abandonment wound that sort of set you on that path, that course of the rest of your life? And then also, were you able to work through the grief that kind of flipped that second switch and made that next huge change in your life? Was that stuff you're able to process and work through in therapy?
That's a really good question. I think it's a lot like being an alcoholic. Like, I'm taking it a day at a time. I don't think I'll ever fully like I'm cool with my mom like lives with me now, and we're roommates. We're really chill. She's one of my good friends, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to say that I can trust her 100%, or like I'll never stop missing my dead sister. You know what I mean? I don't think that's something that you'll ever fully say that like you've healed from. But like when the bad days happen, I am able to confront them and like get through them because of what I learned in therapy, and because I'm not using booze to like shove it all back anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a yes to me, because it's like the trauma never leaves us. It's just we learn how to walk alongside of it instead of let it control us. So it's a win for therapy.
Yes.
Was there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to? I just want to thank you, first of all, for like having this as a resource for people. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's so important. And I also just want to emphasize like what a shame it is that especially queer scenes are so like alcohol centric, especially locally. And I think, and it's not exclusive to the queer community, but I feel like any minority is targeted by like big booze. Yeah, and I mean the rates of addiction and substance use are much higher in the queer community, and I think it is simply because we have much higher rates of trauma and social rejection and all of that. So
true. But thankfully we have recovery demystified now, and I tell all my queers about it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we need a lot more than society is giving us. So I'm really happy to be able to have this platform and the support groups and everything. So I'm excited to watch it grow in the future.
Hell yeah. Me too.
What do you think people don't understand about addiction?
Man, I just think people are so harsh about it, dude. Like, I don't think they understand that it is a sickness. Like, it is an illness. I don't think that it's viewed... I think it's viewed as, like, a choice or, like, a laziness or a failure, a moral failure, an ethical failure even, like... And I think that when an addict is down, that there's not enough willingness to help them come back up. I think addicts are like kind of left on their own a lot.
Yeah, super stigmatized.
Very stigmatized.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you could speak to someone who's like deep in their addiction, who's having like the hardest time of their life right now, what would you say to them?
Man, that like recovery is possible, dude. I it's so cliche. I don't want to say that like it gets better or like just one day at a time or even recovery is possible is not even as like strong of a sentiment as I want to say, but like it is possible, and especially like once you get there, it is so worth it too. Not that it isn't hard, but it is possible and it is so worth it.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's tried at all. Like, I mean, there's so many times in my life where I was like, no, this is fucking impossible and I'm doomed, you know? So, yeah, it's fucking impossible. It feels impossible
so often, but it's really hard. But it's really brave. It's like the bravest thing you could do. And it's so possible. And it's so worth it.
Yeah. And literally the two of us here chatting right now, if we have both been so drunk that we're like not getting out of bed or fucking doing anything and just constantly drinking and blowing up our lives and fucking rotting, and we both are in long-term recovery and fucking living our best lives, then if you're out there listening, that's you.
That's you, baby.
That's you. All right. Well, thanks for talking today. It's been really nice.
Thanks for having me.
Recovery Demystified is produced and edited by me, Early Brunner. Stevie Pettit made our logo. Our social media manager is Kaylee Bausch. Logan Bragg wrote our beautiful theme music. We are entirely supported by donations as a 501c3 nonprofit. Your tax-deductible donations can be made to our Venmo or to our PayPal at Recovery Demystified. May you be happy and free, dear listener.